Should say we're recording. I think we are. All right. Welcome to C-Suite Sherpas, where we shine a spotlight on business experts and resources that you should know. Our mission is to connect our listeners to the experts who will help you boost your personal and/or professional performance. So let's dive right in with today's guest. So I'm really excited to have Joseph Loria, who's the founder of RetentionCX. And in my discussion with him prepping for this, he's not a firefighter, or at least that's the aspiration. And really his goal is to help companies increase their revenue retention rates and really focused on subscription businesses. With that, we'll jump right in. So Joseph, I'm thrilled to have you today.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
No worries. If you could just give us a snapshot of what your business is and the major outcomes that you strive to get for your clients.
Yep. I spent 20 years in early stage businesses and growth businesses and figured a lot of things out the hard way. And then realized, I think about 18 months ago, that there's probably a better way for founders to do this. And so the intent, of course, is to bring that sort of proven framework to businesses at an earlier stage. Every startup founder I've met works incredibly hard to acquire revenue and customers.
Yeah.
I want to help them keep more of those customers, right? So that's the intent. So to do that, I have a proven framework that I sort of battle tested over 20 years. And my promise to founders is if we do this and we work together, I guarantee you'll see retention increases from that. And so retention, gross retention, which means just keeping the renewal, but also expanding renewals, right? Increasing the subscription rates for customers. All this leads to higher enterprise valuations is really the intent at the end of the day. I don't care if you're raising money or you're looking to exit or you're just building a business of value, your valuation is better with a business that not only retains customers, gets them to stay, but also gets them to buy more.
Okay. Do you have any examples that kind of make this real for our audience?
I do. I literally yesterday wrote up a case study on one of my recent customers, B2B marketing company, software as a subscription business. And when I started working with them, their retention rates were in the 50s, maybe 55%, losing nearly half of their customers in any given quarter, right? Not a great position to be in for a business. And so we worked with them, put in a framework, put in an ability to health score customers to know exactly how they were doing, and then put in a methodology to, I call it risk mitigation. This is the fire prevention part of the exercise, right? So we want to avoid firefights. We got to do some fire prevention. Put in place some strategies to mitigate risk in the base. And over successive quarters, we saw a 10+% jump in retention rates over successive quarters. What this really did, because I think what founders are mostly interested in is the outcome, is it extended their runway enough that they were able to extend the runway enough to raise an additional round of funding, which, first of all, fundraising for any business is tough in the current climate, right? But it's astronomically more tough for a B2B marketing business right now. That was a great outcome for them, right? So they just closed a round and are living to fight another day, which is what any CEO would want to do who founded a business.
That's awesome. So yeah, any CEO or founder would be really happy with that. Now, you said you're primarily focused on subscription businesses. Are there other other kinds of companies that your services would work for?
I do think it works for both product and services businesses. I think I've owned professional services businesses before, both inside of product companies and actually out. And of course, I have one now. And I think this mindset around customer experience and customer value attainment would also serve service business as well. Whether you're a product or a services business and whether you're subscription or not,
right,
two things are true, right? It is 5 times cheaper to sell to an existing customer, and they are 5 times more likely to buy. Now, somebody who listens to this is going to tell me I'm a little off on the numbers, but I'm close.
Yeah.
And that is a valuable thing for any business, right? Your best revenue source is from your existing customer base. So you
Absolutely.
have to ensure they see value, and then you have to strategically help them to the next phase of life. And if you do that, you'll benefit from that as a business for sure.
Yeah. My past as an executive, I've been an executive for 32 years, so I'm old, but that is exactly a truth of business. It's
Right.
cheaper to keep your existing customers than to go out and develop new ones. No
Yeah,
question.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Customer acquisition cost for new customers is
oh yeah,
painful,
it's crazy.
painful. Yeah.
Yeah, getting a lot higher too. So what would you say sets your business apart and your approach apart from others that may do this similar things?
Yeah, that's a great question. Two things come to mind for me. One is my background, which is I'm actually a chemical engineer by degree. And people think chemical engineering is chemistry, but I had the same amount of chemistry as any other engineer. What I did have was like 2 years of pretty hardcore process engineering experience.
Yeah,
And chemical engineering is all fluid flow through pipes.
yeah,
So stuff goes in, some operation happens, some stuff comes out. And so you apply that to business, especially like the post-sale world of software businesses,
yeah,
support tickets, projects, implementations, renewals. They're all operational processes, right? There's all input, there's operational process, and you want a quality output, right? So that applies. That's number one. Number two is I did this for 20 years. I didn't quite meet your 30-year mark. So you got me beat on that front. But I did this for 20 years as an executive. And so, admittedly, like in the early days, a lot of it, I took a lot of bruises and bumps, right? I learned a lot of things the hard way.
yeah,
By the fourth and fifth companies, I had figured a lot of this framework out. And so, by the time I started doing this as a consultancy, I had this proven framework in place. And what I've been able to do in this first 18 months is prove that the framework actually works, and it does. It works in practice. So I can almost guarantee an outcome when we get started.
nice. So how do you see your field evolving over the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years? And always everybody has the question, how's AI impacting this
Yes.
field?
So I do have an AI answer actually. And I think the issue is sales. I look at sales and front office and net new sort of customer acquisition as the realm of 95% no's, 5% yeses. I'm ballparking, right? But I need a middle amount of yes decisions to be
Yeah.
successful in sales. On the customer side, it's the reverse. I need 95% yeses. Inevitably with customers, that's a harder gig by the very nature of the fact that I really want 95% of customers to see value from this, right? That
Yeah.
inevitably means I think there's just more work to do. There's this volume of work that comes from the difficulty of dealing with the reality of a customer environment and all its complexity. And so I think your typical post-sale customer success manager feels overwhelmed on a daily basis. And I think customer success is also a bit nascent, right? As a discipline, maybe 15 years old.
Yeah.
So I think the future is two things, right? Number one, we're going to see some definition enter this post-sale arena in a subscription business,
Mm.
and we'll start to bring some order to the chaos. But number two is I think AI will play a big part in that. I think this idea of taking the mundane work off of the strategic resources plate and
Right.
allowing them to focus is going to be huge, right? I think AI will play a big part in doing a lot of the mundane, non-strategic work for folks so that it's teed up and done and people can focus. Focus is going to be the huge value add.
Hmm. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah. I see some things like that happening now in the industry.
Yeah, I think we'll move. Like I was having this conversation actually with a colleague this morning. I think we'll move from the chatbot area
Yeah.
to have agents doing work on our behalf. I think that'll be the huge shift we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's get into the lightning round. Now, the intent here is for our viewers to get to know you personally, know a little bit about who you are. Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. These are hard questions. So, uh, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
All right. My man. Cats or
Dogs. Sorry, cat owners.
if you could only grab one weapon or item during a zombie apocalypse, what would it be?
I got to go with chainsaw. Just
The
because
chainsaw.
if you're going to do it, let's make it interesting.
There you go. Okay. I won't dive into that one.
Thanks for not doing that. Yeah.
Favorite quote or phrase that you think about often?
Honestly, it's from a 90s band called Jawbox that's probably obscure. They're like a DC band that I loved in the 90s. And they have a line from a song called The Page Wants to Stay White. And as a creator, it resonated with me and it's always stuck. Like when you're doing anything new, it's really hard because the page is blank and it wants to stay that way.
Yeah.
And to this day, I use that to spur me on, like perfection is the enemy of excellence. Just get moving
Yeah.
because the page wants to stay white. So
That is interesting. Okay. Favorite movie?
Pulp Fiction, I don't know what that says about me, but it's always the one that comes to mind. It's so great.
I think a lot of people have that as a favorite movie.
Yes.
Favorite book?
Oh, probably Neil Stephenson's Anathema. Neil Stephenson, for those that don't know, is a sort of sci-fi-ish kind of tech writer. And he's so prescient about the future and where things are going. He's preceded the internet and the metaverse to a degree. And he hurts my brain in a really good way. And his book Anathema would definitely make me think differently.
Nice. So it exercises your brain a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. In a non-business way, which is good.
Yeah. All right. One bucket list item that you've already accomplished and one that's number one on your list that you would like to accomplish.
Bucket list item they already accomplished. Man, I didn't think you were going to stump me, Ron, but that's a stumper. I have no answer for that. I guess I haven't done anything bucket listy, but what I want to do bucket list wise is I really do want to travel the world with my wife. I have traveled for business,
Yeah.
but it's not the same. I really want to get immersed in culture in different cultures. Like I love different experiences. So I think my bucket list item is to do that. I got bucket list items. I spent some time in Western Europe. I did get to spend some time in India for business. So
Yeah.
those were good cultural things to check off the list. And I guess I'll include those in the bucket list things I've done. But I really want to do it with my significant other.
Yeah, there's as someone who's traveled their whole life, there is a big difference between traveling for business and
Oh,
traveling with a spouse or someone you love that and just enjoying the culture.
I know. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
looking forward
it's
to
a big
that.
difference. All right, cool. That ends the lightning round. All right, if any of our viewers want to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
Simple. My website is at retentioncx.com, or you can
Okay.
email me at joseph@retentioncx.com.
Okay, so retentioncx.com.
All together, no dashes, no
Email
spaces.
Joseph at retentioncx.com. Great.
Correct.
Okay. Any other parting thoughts or
No, other than I think for all of the startup founders out there, I have an amazing amount of respect and fondness for what anybody starting a business does. So kudos to all the startup founders. I think about these folks a lot, and my advice is always keep going. You're doing great things.
awesome? All right. Joseph, thank you for your time. Thank you for your insights. It was really interesting. I appreciate you coming on our podcast.
Thanks for having me, Ron. Appreciate it.
All right.